Welcome to the war, Avs. There are not a lot of miracles in the Western Conference Final, and you gotta go out and earn it. Avs lose to the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 in Game 1 of Round 3. Look, I don't think the Avs actually played that badly in this game, but Vegas was better at the things that mattered. Through the first 30 minutes of this game, it was a pretty darn even hockey game. Both teams had some good chances. Neither team was finding the back of the net, whether that was good plays defensively or maybe just lack of execution. And throughout this game, the story is lack of execution, at least on the Colorado Avalanche side. While at times the scoreboard may have looked worse than the game actually was, this game at the end of it came down to one play better from Vegas. And while we talk about the individual mistakes that led to the goals against or the failures to score for the Avalanche, that ultimately is an entire team effort. If any one of those plays a better play gets made on, it's a completely different hockey game. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, and that's why the Avs are down one game for the first time in these playoffs. Again, Colorado did some good things. I really didn't mind how they played through the first half of this game, other than you have to score on your opportunities. And even when they fell behind in this game, they just started to dominate puck possession more and create more opportunities for themselves. It just didn't fall their way. And while, yes, the Avs do need to do a better job of executing offensively and finishing their plays. Doing things like giving themselves a lead would make their lives a lot easier. They also need to do a better job of not making the big mistakes. Vegas is absolutely a team that capitalizes on those types of opportunities, similar to a style of Dallas, and a thing that we know has given the Avs problem a lot over the last handful of years. You have to find a way to just clean things up a little bit more. You're never going to play a perfect hockey game, but every mistake you make can't be a complete disaster. The first goal of the game again starts with a small mistake and just continues to spiral out of control. Avs behind the goal line in the offensive zone here. Brock Nelson battling for a puck, and he kind of just falls over for no apparent reason and eats it in a way where it takes him out of the play entirely. Now, this isn't that bad. It does create a 4-on-3 situation. You get a really lack of effort back check from Nichushkin. Maybe it's the end of a shift here. I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't check. But it's not great. Not horrible. You should still be reasonably okay here, and you're going to see the thing Vegas maybe had the most success with in this game. They run the pick play, where the guy drives the net and takes a lot of the body on the defender, and it creates a ton of space for Vegas. As you see Lehkonen come across to take the puck carrier, that leaves the top side open because Nelson fell over and you got the bad back check from Nichushkin. Now you're starting to have a little bit of an issue, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure what Jack Ashan is defending here. I guess he's keeping the back post play from coming in and charging, but he's not really taking away a passing lane at all, and he's not really challenging the puck carrier at all, which leaves a ton of room for Dylan Coghlan to jump into this play, get in deep, and shoot this puck. Now, Dylan Coghlan had not scored a goal in over 4 calendar years. So when this puck goes in 5-hole on Scott Wedgwood from, that's not even really the high slot, man. That's the top of the circles. You really have to make that save. Was that particularly well defended? No, of course not. That's not a particularly special shot. And even if it's flubbed, even if it's a little bit fooled, you just cannot get beat 5-hole from there if you're an NHL goaltender. You needed a save. You saw Wedgwood's reaction. He knows it too. Just a tough way to break a 0-0 tie for the Avs. That obviously doesn't feel good, but it's a game that feels far from over with just one goal. Unfortunately, the Avs take a penalty, and a few minutes later, the lead is 2-0. Vegas breaking out on the power play here. This is initially defended very well at the blue line, stopping them from getting in on their initial attempt. And while they get in on the second chance, and Marner even gets in with speed, it's a really good recovery from Logan O'Connor to get back, take Marner's stick away, and not directly give up anything dangerous from Marner. The problem is, Brent Burns just gets completely lost on the backside of this play, locked onto Marner. He starts skating towards the corner for no apparent reason, not even really defending anything, and that opens up a lane right down the middle of the ice. While LOC is doing a good job defending, Mitch Marner's still a pretty talented hockey player. He gets the puck towards the middle, and Brent Burns is now doing nothing, and this puck is going in the back of your net because of it. That one feels extra frustrating because you take what was a really good defensive play from Logan O'Connor and turn it into a goal against because Brent Burns is frankly just completely unaware of the ice around him. Weird calls and power play goals happen, though. That's why you can't make these other mistakes, and that's why you need to get better at finishing your opportunities on the other end. Yes, defense wins championships, but it's really hard to win hockey games when you just decide not to score in the first 2 periods of a game. It's great that the Avs feel confident and comfortable that they can come back and make a game out of anything, but you also have to give yourself a lead at some point to win games. Despite what that miracle comeback against Minnesota in Game 5 was, those are not repeatable circumstances. The Avs do push, now down 2-0 at the end of the second period, but they don't get anything to show for it there other than a split power play, which they take into the third. They do not score on that power play, and the second it expires, it's a complete disaster. Avs power play, Malinski quarterbacking it with no Makar. Trying to replace Makar is an impossible situation for Malinski, but you're just going to need more than this. He gets the puck up high as the power play is expiring. He has room, he has options, he has time. He selects the option to shoot. I don't even hate that option, but whatever you do with this puck, it cannot get blocked up high. There's a guy coming out of the box behind you, and anything high in the zone immediately becomes dangerous. He fires it right into the first defenseman. Shot never had a chance of getting through. It ricochets off in behind. Malinski fast enough to turn this into a 2-on-1 instead of a clean breakaway, but still a tough situation. Wedgwood gives you the first save, but it ricochets off of his blocker right into the opposite side player, and now you're dead. Malinski, maybe you would have liked a little bit of hustle to get back and help with that rebound too. Instead, it's 3-0. Sam Malinski just has to make a better play there. You cannot shoot that into the first defender. And that's the difference in this game. There are a handful of plays, yes, the goals against, but also scoring opportunities where the Avs just had to make a little bit of a better play, and they didn't. Obviously, trailing 2-0 at the start of the third period doesn't feel good, but that getting it to 3-0, it felt like the end of the game. And Vegas definitely backed off and protected that 3-goal lead, but it wasn't the complete disappearance of offense that we saw from Minnesota trying to do that in the previous series. In that third period, Vegas still mustered 8 shots on goal, which was more than Minnesota mustered in 2 full periods. They were at least enough of a threat that the Avs had to respect it a little bit while trying to push for the comeback. The Avs would get one of those goals back relatively quickly, and why is it that the coolest goals the Avs score always seem to happen in games that they end up losing? Give the Avs credit, even when things aren't going their way, they don't quit. Nichushkin gets back to the net front area on this play and is going to make the defensive play to start things going offensively. He collects the puck and carries the puck up ice himself to get the Avs going on a 3-on-2 before dishing at the blue line. Pretty fortunate for 2 Vegas players to crash into each other and fall over, which gives Nuke the lane down the middle. And a very good play from Ross Colton to get this through to Nuke, and then Nuke goes nasty mode. You can't really see it, but Nuke actually goes between his own legs to chip this into the far side of the net. How is that the coolest goal the Avs are going to score this playoffs, and it means nothing? Look, man, that's a disgustingly fun goal from Val Nichushkin. Absolutely crazy to go between the legs there and find the far side of the net. Do you notice the problem there? And I don't think it's a problem that your third line picks up a goal and is scoring for you. That's actually a really good thing. But once again, the Avs are relying on their depth forward lines to get them going. Game 5 against Minnesota, it's Parker Kelly that opens the scoring. Game 4 against Minnesota, it's Nazem Kadri. Yes, on the power play, but still a third line guy. It's also taking the Avs far too long to get on the score sheet. Of the Avs' 10 playoff games so far, they've scored in the first period in just 3 of those games. They've got to find a way to get their offense in the back of the net a little bit faster. And look, the Avs continue to play through the third period in a way that will eventually break through on teams. It does break through on Vegas, but a 3-goal hole means you have to break through repeatedly, and some nights that's just not going to happen. The Avs played a brand of hockey that can, and I think probably will, win the series if they can keep it up. They just need to make maybe one less mistake or finish just 1 goal better, or, multiple of those things to make your life easier. A late power play does get converted for Colorado to say they can at least go even on special teams. McKinnon, the man winding it up on the power play, which we see so often, but what I love is just the relentlessness of McKinnon here. The shot attempt doesn't work out, but he collects the puck, maintains it, and continues to create space by himself, not looking to be passive and dish the puck off too early in the shift. When he finds that space, all of a sudden chaos from Vegas. They haven't gotten back with the Avs putting 2 guys in the slot very effectively, and McKinnon uses the space he created for himself and then is able to take advantage and get this puck through to Landeskog on the backside. Landy almost flubs this, but gets a little bit of help from the defenseman's stick to lift it up over the pad, and the Avs are almost in this hockey game. I wish that made the game 2-2 and I could be talking about an unbelievable superstar play from Nathan MacKinnon to set that up and a finish where Landy gets a little bit fortunate. Instead, that ends up being a nothing goal because the Avs put themselves in a 3-0 hole, and you just cannot do that. It does not matter how good your process is. If you put yourselves in situations down 3-0, you're supposed to lose, and the Avs did this time. An empty netter would make it your 4-2 final, and this game is certainly frustrating for various reasons. The Avs were close to a much better game. The Avs goals against all feel really bad on individual levels. It blows the home ice advantage the Avs worked so hard to get in the regular season. And again, it's the first time the Avs have trailed in a series in these playoffs. It's a game the Avs never led. The list goes on. If you want to find reasons to be upset and worried about this series because of this game, you can. Some of those reasons you probably should, but that doesn't mean there was nothing good either. If the Avs play to their ability for a 7-game series, I do believe they will beat Vegas. Now, certainly one of those factors is, does Cale Makar return? We'll see if he plays in Game 2 or not. The Avs defense certainly felt discombobulated without him, but I don't think that's an insurmountable problem. I'm comfortable where the scoreboard ended on this one. The Avs execute a little bit better. You could easily flip these two teams in the next game. We'll see if the Avs prove my optimism right, or if I should have been a doomer after Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, and however many more games there are in the series. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and you're going to have to find ways to dig deep. That's what the playoffs are about.